Hey everyone, today's video we're gonna walk you through how to use Seestar_Alp. It's gonna jailbreak your Seestar and allow you to do some great things to get the most out of it and increase your image quality. So please like and subscribe. This is Frogs in Orbit and we'll get right into it after the intro. Okay, we're here at the landing page for Seestar-Alp, Seestar_Alp, excuse me. Before we get started on it, I'll just tell you a little bit about Alp. It's a community-made software. They've got a Discord and they're on Facebook. I think they're both called Smart Telescope Underground. And I've been using this for quite a while. It's gone through different iterations, and I think as ZWO has been releasing more and more upgrades to their software, Alp has not been as amazing as it was before. Not as a lack of ability of the devs, just Seestar ZWO catching up with the Seestar software. The Alp had a way to do EQ mode way before Seestar released it, so that was a benefit. Right now, the main benefits to it is the opportunity to adjust gain, as well as the opportunity to pick any exposure. We're stuck with 10, 20, 30, and 60 with Seestar's software, but with this, you can do 45 seconds, 40 seconds, 51 seconds, however many seconds you choose to expose. So it's a chance to do much longer exposures than 60 seconds if you have a setup for that. It's also a chance to do midway point between 60 and 30, which I do quite often. So anyway, let's get into it. We're going to do this stuff starting right from scratch. So this is the landing page. Actually, when you get into it, Smart Underworld Seestar Alp, if you just do a search like I did, Seestar_Alp GitHub, you'll see what it brings up here. I'm going to click on this and it's going to bring you here, and we're just going to go to releases. This is the latest release 3.1.1. I've actually not used this release. I use my notebook computer for this, but I'm actually going to install this on my main computer just to show you how it's done. So we're going to click on it. And I'm using Windows. I'm going to pick Windows here. This is the all-in-one download. There are some options to install things separately, but this page is going to bring you to the all-in-one release where you're just doing one. So I've already downloaded this here. It's here. So I'm going to go into it, and I'm going to extract all. And I'm just going to extract this to my local disk, I guess. Probably I'll just start a new folder, call it Seestar Alp. Select this folder and I'll extract. Okay, once you've got this here, you're going to see the actual application itself called Seestar-Alp, and you're going to have a bunch of internal folders. I think next I'm just going to show you the most important file in this whole thing. It's called config.toml. So if you look in here, there's going to be an example file, which will show you what things you can change. And because I haven't run Alp yet, I don't think it's generated my actual config file yet. So before we do it, I think the first thing you should just do is run this. And you're going to get a warning. You have to click on more info and say run anyway. It's an unknown publisher, but that's not an issue. You want to run it anyway. And you're going to get a startup complete, which means it is finished. So I'm just going to actually close this now before I go into, now you have a data folder. If you go into this internal folder here, you're going to have now a config folder, TOML source file. And then you're going to have an example file. So let's open that example file. This example file is going to have a lot of information here. This is all going to be information for your Seestar-Alp, and it's going to give you some examples here. So there's two ways you can add your Seestar or Seestars to this, and I will tell you both ways. The first way is you can edit this config file to add your Seestars. If you just have one Seestar, it says here, IP address should not have to be changed unless you have more than one Seestar. So if you just have one Seestar, you can just add it here. And I think actually the easier way to do this is to do it through the web application rather than here. And I'm not 100% up to date on doing this. I can do it, but it will take time. I think I'd rather just walk you through it the easier way, and then if you have questions, you can ask me in comments and I will tell you how to do it the more difficult way. But this config file is the most important thing that we're going to be working with. So what I want to do is go ahead and just exit out of here. Sorry, I am doing this from scratch and I have not done it for a while, so there's going to be times where I would have to go research the next step. That's why I don't want to walk you through doing it this way, because I actually don't remember as well as I have it from doing it the first time. But I do definitely know how to do it through the web application. So I've got my Seestar-Alp. In order to run it, I'm going to need to go to my local disk where I saved it. It's right here. And I'll go into Seestar-Alp and I'm going to run this again. And we'll get a startup complete here. And once you have a startup complete, that's when you can go to the actual web address. And I've not yet saved it on this computer. It's gonna be, I actually don't remember, it's something localhost. Let's check it out here. I'll show you where to find it on here. This does have a wiki page that can help you understand how to do this yourself if you want to follow. I forget how to find it though. Don't really use GitHub only for this. I think it's on the right here somewhere. README. Yeah, there's a README. It tells you where to go, how to start, Windows, how to get support. Here's the Discord. Here's the wiki page. Here's the Facebook group, YouTube channel, GitHub. So actually all this stuff I was talking about before is here that you can get help from. So definitely check this out. I want to go to the GitHub wiki page. So you have a README here. Should tell me somewhere where the here's the README. Where do I start? Installation keeps bringing me to the same things. What is this? I don't remember what the actual. There's basics user guide here. It's all on the right here. You can see. I'm sorry, I missed it here. So the SSC is this web page. This is what I'm talking about now. This is what you are gonna access, and the address is somewhere here. I think this is part of the reason that this has been so difficult to use, is because they didn't really have a lot of information in the beginning, and now they've started to add information, but you can see they're really not listing things in an easy order so you can figure out how to do things. You know, the first thing they should put here is the address to SSC, but they don't even have it here in the wiki, so I don't know what they're thinking about that while they're doing that, why they did it that way. Doesn't really make sense that they don't have that as the actual first thing. A lot of times developers are so smart they think they don't need to tell you something that's obvious. It's probably obvious that I should know how to get here, but it's not obvious to me because I'm not a developer. I'm not a genius like they are. FAQ. I'm really kind of shocked that they don't even list the address. If any help devs are watching this would be a great thing to add. Would be really nice to add this. SSC user guide, and there's zero information to tell you where to actually access SSC. A little bit hilarious, right? Unbelievable. Okay, I'm just gonna have to pop open my laptop here. I don't feel like searching for this. I think this is one of the things that has made ALP intimidating for people, because they were not really good at documenting things. They've done a great job in their programming and what they've added, but not necessarily a great job in teaching the public how to use it. When I first started using ALP, there were no videos on it at all. So, the SSC web portal is found at http localhost 5432. Looks like this. So I'm going to open that up, and now I'm at the simple Seestar controller, SSC. This is the main page where you're going to do things for your Seestar. So the first thing I really need to do is set this up. So there's tabs up here, and the most important thing I'm going to need to go to is function SSC config. Okay, this is where most of the things are located. I do want you to keep in mind that when you make changes to this, some things revert back, so you should try to make all the changes at once. You don't have to touch anything here. We're going to do Stellarium later. You can pick a theme here. You want to click experimental. There's some things you can't access unless you click experimental. You don't have to touch this. It will create a base directory. I've never even really used this, so you don't need to do this. You can put your location here, whatever name you want to use. I'm in Iksan, South Korea. I'm going to use that. You don't have to change any of these things. And now we're into Seestar initialization. This is going to be some of the things. I always save all my frames. What this button will allow you to do is it will allow you to capture, save the frames that are rejected by Seestar. Sometimes they're actually usable. So I just include everything, and I use subframe selector in PixInsight to get rid of the ones I don't want to use. I have to put my latitude and longitude here. I think it's minus 125.95 and 35.95. I think that's what I use. Here you can adjust the gain. Basically, what this will do is when you start up the Seestar and start up the startup options with SSC, it will automatically change your gain to whatever this number is. I usually do gain of 100. Exposure preview in milliseconds. You don't have to touch these. Actually, exposure stack is how long your exposure is. Right now it's set at the 10 seconds. You can see it's the number here is 10,000, but if you get rid of the zeros, that's seconds. These are decimal seconds here. So I'm what I normally do. This is milliseconds. Sorry, you can see here it says milliseconds. I usually put default 30 because sometimes I'll go higher than that, but I usually default at 30 and change it if I have to. Dither enabled. You want dither? This is actually another benefit of ALP. So first of all, we can control our gain with ALP. Second of all, we can pick any kind of millisecond exposure stack we want. And the next thing is we can adjust the dither. Back when EQ mode came out, there were people complaining about the sensor noise from it not being a cooled sensor, and some people could say that it looked better when you did a 1.1x Mosaic. It would get rid of that sensor noise. In this case, you can change the dither pixels. I never actually had many issues with that sensor noise. Other people did, but you can change these dither pixels, and I usually do change it. I dither 200 pixels instead of 50, which is, a little bit more than 10% of the pixel range. And then I change the dither frequency to every 15 frames. So you can learn more about this in the Discord. I'm just showing you what I use. This will decide if you want the LP filter on by default, and I don't want that. Another thing that's nice about ALP is you can have the dew heater come on right away when you're doing the startup process. So if you set this number to anything, the dew heater will come on right away. I usually just set it to 80 and it's enough. So this will turn the dew heater on. I mean, I always use it because I have mine plugged into an outlet. If you want to control your dew heater manually based on the weather and temperature, you can leave this at 0, but I put it at 80 and have it turn on right away because I don't have any concerns about battery issues. My scopes are always in EQ mode. You want to claim guest control. You don't have to change any of this. And this is where you're going to actually add your Seestars. So I'm going to use the information I already have from the the config file on my notebook computer where I have it. So I'm just pulling that up. I don't need to show you, but this is where I'm going to add my Seestar. So I'm going to name my first Seestar. My first Seestar, I always call it Frogs in Space. This is Frogs in Orbit. And by the way, if you just have one Seestar, you can name this whatever you want. You don't have to touch this. You should put is device in EQ mode yes, and then you're just gonna hit add Seestar device. And I don't remember if this actually resets. It might reset. This, we'll find out. You might have to enter this all again, but you want to save after you add it. Okay, but in this case, I have 3 Seestars, so I need to add each one separately. So I'm just going to put in my static IP that I gave to each of my Seestars. Also, I don't know if there's a problem showing IP addresses on the internet. I don't know enough about that, but don't hack me. Whatever you want to do, don't hack me. I don't have any money. Don't take any of my stuff. Thanks. So I'm gonna add Seestar device 1, and then I call my second one Frogs Among Stars. I'm gonna add my I do recommend you make static IPs for your Seestars. It's way better if you do that. I'm not going to walk you through how to do that, but it will just make your setup more concrete so that you won't have situations where you're losing connection to Seestars and things like that. I've had that happen, putting it in static, giving yourself static IPs for your Seestar devices, and even my laptop I give a static IP to. That makes a big difference with your connection, not having connection issues. My last one is Frogs on Mars. Okay. And I'm gonna put in my static IP for this one. Okay. Is in EQ mode. Add Seestar device, and then I'm gonna hit. Okay, I shouldn't have added Seestar device. I can delete this one now. Save. Okay, so let's see if these did reset. I'm not sure. No, looks like they. Yeah, looks like everything's saved. Everything I put in saved. My 3 Seestars are listed. Okay. At this point, I'm going to need to make sure I'm connected to the same network that my Seestars connect to, so I will have to change my network. I'm going to change my network settings, and I'm going to go turn on my Seestars, and we'll be right back with that. Okay, we're back here. So I've got my 3 Seestars turned on. I do want to tell you that once you set all that up, you should exit everything and exit that startup window that we talked about before, because you want to make sure you can start from scratch. Now that you have everything configured, you need to restart it. So we're going to go do the same thing I did before. I'm going to go into my Seestar.app, and now I'm going to run it. I have my Seestars turned on already. Once they say ready to connect is when you can run this. And I do also want to tell you that this window must be remained open, must be kept open. One time I shut it down and couldn't figure out what was going wrong. You just want to make sure you're minimizing it. Do not shut it down. Okay, and then once that's turned on, I can go back in like I did before, and I have my SSC saved here, localhost 5432. And I don't have great access to this router. This router is much closer to where I keep my Seestars, so there may be some connection issues with my Seestars disappearing, but I still think I should be able to show you what's going on here. Okay, so here we are. I've got my 3 Seestars on this Seestar-app. They're all showing up. You've got some information here on each Seestar. It will tell you what focal positions it's at. It will tell you some of these settings, the heater, the auto power off. The heater is false right now, the do heater, because I have not started it. Once I do the startup, it will turn on automatically. Tell me how much storage I have, the balance, the compass direction, temperature, charging status. It's not plugged in, then the battery's 98%. The temperature of the battery, what mount mode it's in, if the scheduler's running, the state, if it's doing any imaging, the Wi-Fi signal, and is it the master client. So each Seestar will have that information. Okay, so that's the first thing I want to show you. The second thing I want to show you, which I think is the best next step to look at, is you've got a drop-down box here in the upper right. This is where you can actually choose what Seestar you are controlling. So this is Frogs in Space, my first Seestar. This is the one I'm actually controlling. Anything I do right now is only going to affect this Seestar. So I can switch and do different things with each Seestar. If you're going to want to control all of them together, that's what this Seestar Federation is called. When I click on this, it'll refresh and it'll switch to Seestar Federation. And this is when I'm controlling all of my Seestars at the same time. Now you can see they've gone offline. This is probably because my like I said, I'm far from the router here, so it's going to be a little bit hard to show you exactly how to do this with me not being close to. I can still show you how things are running, but my Seestars are going to appear and disappear, which might affect this, but we'll see. So this is our basic home screen. So if you're just running out for the first time at night, you're firing it up, you've turned on your Seestars, you've connected to your network, and you've done this, you've clicked on the application to start it, to run this. This is when you're going to go to the startup page. Now the startup page is the first page you're going to use. Now normally my 3 Seestars would be showing up here, 1, 2, 3, and there would be some information about them. I really wish that I was closer to my router here. Actually, it's already disconnected. That's unfortunate. This might be connecting and disconnecting, so that's what's going to cause this issue. But I want to at least connect enough to show you what's going to happen when these pop up. So here my Seestars are popping up. Here's device 1, device 2, device 3, and it's going to give you information about each Seestar. The filter wheel, the autofocus, the dark library, the polar align, and the plate solve. If you've watched my polar align video, you will see how these work. So basically for the startup sequence, this has changed a little bit from my last video. These are not selected automatically, and polar align is the first option. I know this has happened since they've updated. So basically I'm going to make sure I'm in Seestar Federation, and I'm going to hit start. And when I hit start, all 3 of these are going to start the polar alignment process. Okay, I'm not going to walk you through that. All of this is in my polar align video. But if you want to adjust the polar alignment after it's done, you can click start here and it will show you this dot where it's at. If you want to make the dot, the bullseye tighter, you can do this. If you want to make it wider to find the dot, you can do this. And you're just going to adjust your Seestars, and when you're done, you're going to hit stop. You should watch my polar align video if you want to learn how to polar align with ALP. So this is the startup screen. Now, let's say you've polar aligned all 3 Seestars and you want to start imaging. The first thing I usually do, because this just runs startup, the next thing I will do is I'll just actually go into each Seestar. And when this happens, you can just go back and go to home. This usually is a connection thing. It happens to me frequently because I just never get strong Wi-Fi connections. But and if that happens, you can just go back to home, and now it should let you select each Seestar separately. So once it refreshes, it's going to show my first Seestar, Frogs in Space. And I will go into the settings at this point. Function, settings. And you can see it didn't actually save. This is weird. This is not usually set like this. Maybe this is the last. If I had done startup, these numbers should change. The dew heater will turn on and these numbers will change to the default. But I always check them anyway. So if you just wanted to change them now, you could. I can change this to 215. These are the dither options I walked you through before. You can turn dither on and off. You can change the exposure amount. Like I told you, I usually have this at 30. This will pop up at 30 normally. This you don't have to worry about. You can see it's got save subframes on automatically, save the failed frames on automatically. This stuff you don't have to touch. I don't touch any of these things. This is that base focal length that the Seestar always starts with when it's making adjustments. This is when you're in the ZWO app and you are in focus, you can save that focus number. This is the same spot in Alp. Do heater, you can adjust it yourself, but once I did the startup, this would turn on automatically. You have your auto power off. I have this disabled. The light pollution filter, LP filter, is currently disabled. This is just the style dark mode. Continuous capture, this is that live mode. Live stacking disables live stacking and just captures the subs without showing you a stacked result. And now actually they've added this 4K stack mode. This was not here before. This is a new update from the ZWO app where you can enable this, but I don't need to see that in my stack, so I'll always leave this off. So anyway, these are the settings, and you always want to make sure you save after you make changes to this. Okay, so let's keep going with functions here. Let's look at commands. These are different things you can do with each scope. As you can see, I am in Frogs in Space, so I've only got my current status of device here. If I click on Seestar Federation, now I've got all three devices. Normally these would be green to show I'm polar aligned. If I was imaging, I would be doing the dark library right now. And this is how I would be doing the dark library. I would be, after I was in the functions and changed the settings to the exposure I wanted. In this case, let's say it's 30 seconds. You want to make sure you're on the right exposure amount. This is where I would do the dark library. I would usually I do stop imaging, because I don't want I don't want it still stuck in any imaging state when I do this. So I select stop imaging and execute, and then I would go here and I would hit execute to create dark frames, and it would start making dark frames here. It would start a % to show how complete they were. So this is for making dark frames. This option's changed a little bit too. They've got hot pixel creation, and they actually have create flat frames in here. So you can see the developers are doing a lot to add functionality as ZWO adds functionality. These were not here before, but now they are. And let's look at these different options we have here. So there's a command for startup shutdown. You can move scope to horizon, which I think moves it to... I don't know what that does. Maybe it closes the arm. I think this closes the arm and puts it at start. Maybe this just closes the arm. This closes the arm and puts it at start position. You can reboot the scope. You can shut it down from here. If it's in guest mode or something, you can grab scope control or release scope control. There's filter options. Use LP filter. Use IR filter. Get real state, get real setting, use dark filter. You can change the filters. Get information settings. I don't think I've ever used anything from here, but you can get an app state, get an event state, all different things here. Focus options. Start autofocus, stop autofocus, get the current focus or position, get last focus or position. Plate solving. Start a plate solve. If you want to force a plate solve, you can do this. Get current plate solve result. Get last plate solve result. Select the mount mode, equatorial or Alt-AZ. And then we talked about these dark frames here. You have start imaging. If you just go to a spot in the sky with this, by the way, you can use the ZWO app at the same time you are using this. You can use them interchangeably. You can start something here and stop it on the ZWO app. You can start something on the ZWO app and stop it here. So they can be used interchangeably. Just keep in mind that if you are using the Seestar-Alp scheduler and you do something on the ZWO app, the scheduler will stop really responding, because the ZWO app's taken over in that case as the scheduler. So just keep that in mind if you've got a schedule running. So we've got start imaging, stop imaging, get view state, get stack info, get image name field, image save path. Different options here, some I've never used. Okay, so this should help you understand what's going on with the command page. And then we'll go on to the next one. Guest mode, I don't use this. and I'm not really 100% sure what it's needed for, but I'm not actually going to discuss guest mode, but I am going to discuss GoTo mode. This is just an opportunity that if there's a target you want to go to, let's say you want to go to M33, you type it in. You want to make sure it's on Simbad Deep Sky Online, and you're going to hit search for coordinates, and it's just getting these from the internet. And once it's retrieved those coordinates, you can hit submit, and this is going to actually just point your scopes to that object. It's just a go-to. Maybe you want to check if this object's viewable. You can hit GoTo, and it's gonna go to and plate solve. If the plate solve fails, it means it's blocked by trees, your house, or clouds, or something. But this is some ways you can check just to see if you're actually able to see that object. Maybe you don't have Stellarium, or you don't have a way to know if it's available in your sky right now. You can check that way. Okay. You do have some options down here. I guess this is a good time to talk about it. You can get the RA and DEC from your clipboard if you saved it from a different side, and you can just insert it with this. You can also retrieve the position you are in Stellarium. If you're using Stellarium, you can hit this button to retrieve it, but you have to set this up to interact with Stellarium, which we're going to do later on in this video. And I tried to use this, but it didn't work. Apparently, if you have a .fit saved from the Seestar, you should be able to select it, and it will copy the information you need. But when I tried it one time, it didn't work. So, but theoretically, you're supposed to be able to do that. So that's GoTo. Image. This is your simple imager. This is the same as going to the Sky Atlas, selecting a target here. We want M33. Click on this. That's going to bring up the coordinates. Now, in this case, I'm in Seestar Federation. You have some options here. Duplicate, split by time, split by panel. This split by time and split by panel mostly is going to have to do with Mosaic mode, but if for imaging mode you just want to duplicate. So if I put duplicate and I change to 3 because I have 3 Seestars, whatever I put down here is going to be copied to my 3 Seestars. This is duplicate mode. So panel acquisition time is how long you want to image for. Let's say I'm going to image M33 for 3 hours. You can see here how you have to enter the time. You can do it in milliseconds, or you can do it in hour, space, minute. 3 hours, 30 minutes. Let's say I want to do that. This gain's automatically set at 100 like I asked it to be. I could change this depending on the target. If I wanted to change it for a target, I could. Do you want the light pollution filter on? This is M33. I have captured with the LP filter before to try to pick up extra nebula, but most likely you'll have this off. And I always put use autofocus on every new object I go to. This last thing is going to be the retry settings. Number of times to retry a failed GoTo. This is pretty handy in the sense that if you have clouds roll through while it's switching targets, traditionally your Seestar will just stop running at that point. If it gets a failed GoTo after 3 attempts, you're just stopped. You're stuck. But in this case, you can tell it to retry. So after 3 tries, it's gonna fail, and you can tell it to try 4 times. Basically, if you change this, I always just do the default of 300. This basically means that after 300 seconds, which is 5 minutes, after 5 minutes, it will retry 3 times again. If that fails, it will wait another 5 minutes and try, and it'll do that 4 times. So it's really helpful that you don't end up losing a night because the clouds came in while the scheduler was changing. If you put this on, it'll keep trying until it fails after 4 times, and you can do 5, 6 times, whatever. You can adjust that any way you want. So in my opinion, this is another benefit of ALP. So hopefully you understand the imaging here. After all that's done, I'm just going to hit submit and it will start imaging right away. It will not add it to the scheduler. It will start imaging right away. The next thing I want to show you is the next in line. This is live image. If you are imaging, it'll show up with a box here, a viewing box, and it'll show up with information here, and it'll show you how long it's been running, what it's capturing, blah blah blah, and this will eventually show you a picture of what you're collecting, just like the Seestar ALP shows you. You'll get a live view here. Okay, this is Mosaic mode. Basically, Mosaic mode, you're going to put in the target. Let's say I want to do the Eagle Nebula, M42. I'm going to find M42 here. It's going to pop up. And in the past, I did a 3-pane mosaic. I have 3 Seestars, so if I just do them 3 panes in a row, I can capture 1 for 1 hour, 3 panes, 1 hour on each pane. It's 1 hour of the Eagle Nebula. So if I put 3 is the number going across the amount of panes you have, 1, 2, 3, and these are the amount. So this is basically columns, and DEC panels rows. So I just want 1 row, 3 columns, and you can select your panel overlap. In this case, I'll just do 20% because Eagle Nebula will be small enough it'll fit in there easily with 20%. If I have a tight fit, I'll change this to 15. In EQ mode, I wouldn't go less than 15%. I have done it. You can try that, but I wouldn't go less than 15% on it. As a rule, but you can break it from time to time. Alt-AZ, you definitely want to go like even 35%, something like that. And then you can actually tell it what pane you want to work on. If you just want to do row 1, column 1, row 1, column 1, you can say 1. Okay, if you want to do row 1, column 2, you can put 1, 2. Row 1, column 3, 1, 3. So if I just wanted to do 2 panes, I could do 1, 1, semicolon, 1, 2, and leave off 1, 3. It won't, actually, I'm sorry. I can't remember what number goes first. If it's the row or, it might be the column number that goes first. No, I don't think so. No, I can't remember. Yeah, I think it would be like this. I'll have to look into that. I'll put it in comments. I can't remember now. I've had such cloudy skies, I don't even remember. I haven't been able to image for a long time. Anyway, you can put in the panes here to separate them. And again, you still have these options to retrieve from different things, and this is the same situation here. If I split by time, and let's say I want to image for 5 hours, I can just put 5 hours and split by time and use my 3 devices, and it will automatically figure out, the Seestar.alp will automatically figure out how many hours it wants to do on each pane and split it up in that 5 hours. So it's just almost like a way of saying, this is my imaging time, this is the amount of panes I'm capturing. Figure out what you can do to capture that in the amount of time I'm imaging. Duplicate means that each Seestar I own will be shooting the first pane. I have 3 Seestars, all 3 will shoot the first pane for this amount of time, then they'll move to the next pane for this amount of time, and then they'll move to the last pane. So if I want to do 3 hours on each pane, it's 9 hours of imaging, might be hard. If I want to do 1 hour on each pane, I'll put 1 hour here. 3 Seestars will shoot for 1 hour each, so I'll get 3 hours on each pane with this. 3 Seestars at 1 hour each. If I put 20 minutes here, now I know I'm getting 1 hour on each pane because I have 3 Seestars. Okay, and this is usually the way I do it actually. I have all Seestars shoot the same pane because my Seestars do not all capture at an even rate. One Seestar is pretty poor efficiently at higher exposures. The other two I can eke longer exposures out of, but sometimes the first one doesn't do as well as the second one, so I'm just basically let them all capture the same pane at the same time, so I can make sure I have equal SNR capture. So I'm going to put that there, change the gain, these functions are the same, these are the same, and I hit submit. And that's how I'm going to do Mosaic. Okay, it will start telling me what's going on here. Next one is going to be planning. You can plan mosaics here. You have to make sure you have experimental clicked to do this. It automatically defaults at M33, but if I want to plan a mosaic, let's say I want to plan a what's a good one to pick? How about Orion? How about Orion Nebula? I want to sorry, I put M42 Orion Nebula before. It should have been M16. My mistake. Anyway, let's say I want to do Orion Nebula. I don't know why I got those confused. Anyway, you pick M42, and this is a 1 of 1. You can zoom out with the mouse. This is what 1 of 1 would look like if I want to change to... I think when I did my Orion, I did 4-2. I want to say. I will change these, and I think I did 15 overlap. And you can zoom in and you can see what you're getting. Yeah, I think I did 4-2 because I wanted to try to get some of this dust, but really I only ended up capturing about this. These 2 panes didn't really make it. And if the only thing about this is you cannot move the framing. Whatever the center of the target is what you're stuck with. So if you have a target where the center is not exactly where you want it to be and you want to reframe, you cannot reframe with this. I talked about it in my Mosaic video. You can watch my Mosaic video to see how to handle reframing. But you cannot reframe with this. And then I can even send this to the schedule if I want. If I click send to the schedule, it'll send 4-2-15. I can split the mosaic across multiple Seestars or duplicate, and I can adjust this. So you can send it to the schedule like that. I'm not going to do it, but you can add it to the scheduler this way. Just to give you another example, let's say you want to do what is this, NGC 7000 North American Nebula, I think. So normally with the North American Nebula, you would probably want to kind of change the center point. You cannot move this box that way. You're only allowed to keep the same center point that the catalog number is listed as. So I would have to just be stuck with this kind of framing, and this would probably be too far over. I cannot move this to the right like I might want to with this target to have less space here and capture more to this side. You don't have an option with this mosaic mode. Now, let's say you've already done a mosaic and you already know, you can just type in the information here that you already know. So the first day you've planned it, you've shot M42 and you did a 4x2. You can just enter that here, 4-2-20, and it will do the same exact mosaic you've already done. You don't have to plan it every time. Once you've already shot it and you keep this in mind, what you put in, you'll be able to shoot it every time. Okay, so planning, let's talk about schedule. When you have a schedule, this is where it's going to show up. Let's say you want to make a schedule. I want to image M33 for 3 hours on 3 Seestars, which is going to be 9 hours if, not counting dropped frames and the dithering, but image time. So I'm going to duplicate 3 Seestars, and I want them to do 3 hours. Use autofocus. 4. 300 is default. I'm going to add it to the scheduler. And I remember, this is what I'm controlling here. This is controlling all 3 right now. Then I want to do a mosaic. I want to add a mosaic of M42. Click search to bring up the coordinates. I'm going to do a 4x2 panel with 20% overlap. I'm going to shoot all the panes. I'm going to duplicate it for all Seestars, and I want to do an hour on each pane. So an hour on each pane with 8 panes is 8 hours. Let's say I just want to do 20 minutes on each pane. Okay, which is going to be 8 panes divided by 20 minutes, and then times 3 because I have 3 Seestars. I'll get an hour on each pane, but within enough time to finish. And now, because it's one that you normally use the light pollution filter on, of course, actually M42 is 50-50 who wants to use it or they don't. Oop, this should not be 20 hours, this should be 20 minutes. Use light pollution filter. I'm going to unselect this, use autofocus on every pane. So every time it switches a pane, it will autofocus, no problem. I want to do that. Append to add it. So now this is in the schedule. And let's say I want to finish the night with Pleiades, 7 Sisters. Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to image. No, let's do a mosaic. Let's do a mosaic of Pleiades, because it doesn't really fit on the Seestar range, and I'm going to actually do 4x2 of this too. 20% overlap. I'll duplicate on all the Seestars. 20 minutes each. Use autofocus. It's a reflection nebula. I don't need the LP filter for 300. Append. Okay. And we have some other options here. We can change the exposure length, right? It's going to do new darks. Let's say I know that I actually haven't used this. I'm going to start using this more often. Let's say you know you're switching from a northern target you can get 60 seconds on to a southern target that's going to be harder. You can change the exposure midnight to 45 seconds. It will automatically redo the darks, and it'll change to 45 seconds. That's actually a really nice option. You can schedule your startup. If you, this is really cool because if you are on a permanent, you have a peer setup with a permanent setup, and you just have to go out there and put your Seestar down, and you already know it's going to be perfect PA, or your Seestar's out there 100% of the time. You can, let's say you have plans and you know it's going to get dark at 7, you can go here. You can say wait until, and you can put in the time. Make sure you're using military time, 24-hour time. So I can put in here 1900, and I can add this, and then whatever I put after this won't start until Seestar reaches 7 p.m. The time reaches 7 p.m. So by the way, I guess I can show you this now. If you want to clear the schedule or do different things with it, you can do that here. But let's actually talk about it. I'll clear the schedule. Let's say I'm not going to be home, but my Seestar's out there, and I know it's perfectly polar aligned. I can do 1900 here. Add that. It will show up in my schedule, and then I can do startup. And I can actually just keep all these clicked because I know it's going to work. And then I can add this. So basically what will happen is when the time reaches 7 o'clock, as long as my Seestars are on plugged in with the battery and already having this box open and all this setup is done, it will start running the schedule at 7 o'clock and it'll start up my Seestars automatically. So let's say you want to wait, actually you don't have to do anything here. When it finishes, then you can start adding your stuff. I want an image. I want to do a mosaic. You can start adding it here. So it's really nice. You can do wait for. There's wait for options. This is if you want to pause the schedule. I've never used it, but I guess if you want to pause, you can put the amount of seconds you want to wait for it till it does the next thing. You can have it autofocus. So, lots of people talk about how the temperature changes and the focus changes a lot. You can tell it to, I want to image M33 for 1 hour. Then I want to autofocus. So you hit M33, 1 hour, add it to the schedule, add autofocus to the schedule, add M33 for another hour again. And you can set up an autofocus schedule. We talked about exposure. You can have it automatically changed. Like if you want to, I don't know how you would use this, but it's an option. Dew heater, same. Parking the scope, shutdown. So I added all those things that I showed you, like Pleiades, and usually at the end of the night, my Seestars are a little bit close together. If they don't all shut down at the same time, there's two of them that are a little bit close together and might crash into each other. So my shutdown procedure, I always wait until 5:30 a.m. and then shut down, so all three Seestars shut down at the same time and don't crash into each other. If you don't have to worry about that, you can just put shutdown. You don't have to put wait until. Okay, so there's different nice options here. This is really way more advanced than the ZWO app. Okay, we talked about settings, SSC, and stats. Yeah, so I think that is a main thing to do with SSC. I think I answered most of the things you can do. I didn't talk about, there are options where you can delete things you've added. Let's say, two other things I can talk about. Let's say I added a bunch of different things here. M45. This is not a mosaic. Duplicate 3 devices for 3 hours. Use autofocus for 300. Then I want to switch to M33. And if I just put M33 here and search, it'll bring this up, and it still has, you still have to do the duplicate, but then this stuff's all saved. So this is 3 hours here, switch to milliseconds. So if I know I'm doing it for another 3 hours, I don't have to touch this stuff. I can just add again. Let's say I want to do a mosaic. M42. Switch. Duplicate. 20 minutes on each pane. I don't want to use light pollution filter. Append. So I've got 3 things here. Let's say I got to M33 and clouds rolled in, and I just want to keep shooting M33. I'm just going to skip M42 because M33 was more important to me. I can click on this and hit delete, and it will remove it from the schedule. Also, while it's running, if you click on it while it's running, it'll expand and show you how much time is left. If I decide that I was shooting M45, but I want to go to M101 before, I can go to here, image, M101, add it in. Let's say I just want to throw in an hour of this before I move to M33, use autofocus. 300, and now I can go up here and I can click this and I can insert, and it will add something before whatever you've selected. So now my M101 is put in. It was shooting. It's while it's shooting M45. I can add M101 before the schedule changes. Okay, so you can mix and match with the schedule there and delete things. And again, I told you can always just clear the schedule here if you want to start fresh. By the way, once you have the schedule inputted in, you can hit start, and that will send it to your 3 Seestars and start the schedule. Now, if you want to change individual Seestar schedule, if I click start, which I don't want to do because I don't want my Seestars moving, they're just sitting on my floor right now. But if I did want to hit start, and I can go in individually and adjust the different schedules for each one. You want to not do it through here because each one's running its own schedule now. Then you would want to change them individually. So I think that's the information I wanted to show you about SSC. Let's work on setting up Stellarium. Last step, let's set up Stellarium, and I'll show you quickly how you can use Stellarium with Seestar. Okay, let's check out how to do this Stellarium. So I'm just actually going to follow the directions on the landing page. By the way, I've shut off my Seestars because no reason to have them on for this part. That's why they're showing offline, but I still need SSC running. So let's go back to our Seestar Alp GitHub page. And this is where you're going to find the walkthrough for Stellarium. I've only done this once and I don't remember how to do it. So let's figure it out together. I want to go to the wiki here. Stellarium. I'm going to click on Stellarium. To import coordinates of an object or view from Stellarium, you must first enable remote control. So open Stellarium and select the configuration window on the left. Okay, let's do it. Stellarium. Configuration window. And let me put this to screen so we can see. Your plugins tab, remote control, load at startup, save settings, restart Stellarium. So Stellarium, hello, Stellarium. Plugins. What did it say? Remote control. Guess I have to make this bigger. Just configuration, remote control, load at startup. I don't think it said I had to configure. Did I have to configure? Load at startup, main. Save settings. Alright. Close Stellarium. Yeah, I did this. Main tab, save settings, restart Stellarium. So, once again, open the configuration, go to Plugins Remote Control, Options, click Configure. In the new window, select Serve Enabled and Enable Automatically on Startup. Also make note of the port, usually 8090. Click Save Settings. So, Options, Configure, Enable on Startup, Save Settings. So let's do this again. Configuration, plugins, remote control, configure, enable automatically on startup, port 890, save settings, maybe we have to save again, click. Did we have to shut down again? Does anybody remember? I don't remember. Restart Stellarium to make sure everything is loaded correctly. Restart. Okay. Let's just double check what it says here. Restart Stellarium. You can check all is working correctly by selecting an item in Stellarium and then Alt-tabbing or using the non-full screen button. Out to a web browser and enabling the following URL, you should receive a JSON reply detailing the object you selected. So this is when we're just going to check Stellarium remote control is working. So restart Stellarium. I think I need to fast forward my time. I don't know if it matters or not. Let's just fast forward. Okay, what's in my sky at this time? Elephant trunk. I see 1396. Here, give it my Seestar POV. Let's say I want to frame like this. You know, with Stellarium, it's not going to get the coordinates if you just have it framed like this. If you're getting actual coordinates, you should press the star that's closest to the center you want. Let's say I want to use this star for the center. Actually, it's not a great star to choose. Let's say I want to use this star as the center or something. This will give me this framing. So I want to pick this star. It's got this star information. That's what I want to use. So you're going to go here and it says that we should, we should go to this, out to web browser, enter this in, tab, and yeah, if you've got information here like this, it means it's working. If it gives you information like this, it's working. Okay, so now we've got Stellarium working. Now we have to go into SSC and configure it. So it says once it's working in the SSC configure, enter the IP address of the machine running Stellarium and Stellarium host and the port you noted entered early in Stellarium. Click save at the bottom of the page. So that means I need to know the IP address of my computer, which I don't. So I will be right back. I'm going to enter that information in and be right back. Just not going to come right back now, just so I can show you SSC controller function, SSC config. Maybe it's not going to work because I don't have any. Yeah, it works. This is the stuff I'm going to add here. So I have the port 890. Yeah, in Stellarium host, I'm going to add the IP address of my computer. So in this case, I would add my IP address here of this computer and keep this port. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so I've added that information into SSC where I showed you. I'm not going to show it to you now, but I added the IP address under Stellarium host of my computer, and I kept the port number the same. So now if I'm in Stellarium and what we saw before, I wanted to, let me move this out, zoom out. I wanted to use that star that I had before. Let's say this star, or this star, even might be a better framing. So I want to use that star. I click on it, Gaia DR3. It's got the star catalog number here. As long as I'm clicked on this star with the bullseye, now I can go into SSC function. Let's say I want to do it on a schedule. I can't do imaging because none of my scopes are on anymore, but I can still run the schedule this way. And now at this point, you want retrieve RADEC from Stellarium. If I click on this, it's going to bring in that star and those points. So I'm actually doing elephant trunk. I can just change this to IC1396, and as long as I don't hit search, it will just keep these coordinates, but in the folder it will call it IC1396, so I know what it is. I don't want to just use that star number because I'll forget what it is if I get this information off my Seestar at a later time. So let's say I know that I want to just have it be elephant trunk. I can give it this catalog number. And then, of course, you're going to do all the things you normally do. Put it on 3, acquisition time, all that, and just hit add. So for those of you who did watch my Mosaic video, this will give you a good option for how you want to do mosaics. If I want to plan a mosaic, let's say I want to do elephant trunk. If I just do IC1396 and put it in here, and let's say I do 4, 3 with a 15% overlap, you're going to see that it could be framed better. Like I would want to move this over. If I wanted to just get the edge to edge here, I could move this over. But unfortunately, I cannot change it from the planning mode. So if I zoom in here, I can see there's a big bright star here and there's another star here. This star would probably serve as a better center point for me. Actually, the framing's not bad, really. But let's just say I did want to move it over some. This is a way to kind of finagle Seestar-Alp to give you a better framing on your mosaic if you can find a bright enough star that's in the catalog. So I've got this one huge bright star in the center, but I want to use this one to the left. I can go to Stellarium, and you can see it's a little bit different. You can see it's a little bit different the way it looks here. The elephant trunk's coming in at a different orientation, but I'll still have that bright star in the center, which is probably this star. And let's say I want to use this star. If I click on this and use this star and then do the 4, 3, 15% overlap, it'll frame it off of this star based as the center. So this is just a way to set up the mosaic you want, the way you want. Like when I did M42, I can show you exactly what happened. When I did M42, M16, I don't know why I keep calling it 42. When I did the Eagle Nebula, I had 3-1 set up, 20% overlap. And I didn't really like this framing because it left a lot of area up top, and I wanted to catch some of this area down bottom. I wanted it kind of more center. So when I framed this, rather than use the framing like this, I just went into Stellarium and I picked a star that was kind of in the center point of what I wanted. So this was the FOV, and you can see it's quite close to the bottom and leaves a lot of room at the top. So what I did was I think I chose like this star as my center point. No, that's too far. I think it was this one. I chose this star as my center point, and that way I was able to capture more of the bottom. Maybe that wasn't the star I chose, but it might have been this one here. Yeah. I chose this star as my center point so I'd have more of it in the middle and capture as much as I wanted. So that's kind of a good way to trick it to do what you want. So it's centered on here, and then I can just go into SSC function, schedule, Mosaic, retrieve from Stellarium. Then I will just call it Eagle Nebula Mosaic, and then I can put the same panels 3, 1, 15, or 20. It was 20. And then I can duplicate across 3 Seestars, 1 hour on each pane, which is 20 minutes with 3 Seestars. Use light pollution fin. Make sure you've got this selected, because since it's on a star, it's not going to activate the light pollution filter. You want to make sure you access it. Use autofocus for 300 and add. Now I've got this Eagle Nebula framed the way I want it. So that's why it is a good idea to add Stellarium. So long video again. I hope this answered a lot of your questions. Seestar-_alp is a tremendous addition to your Seestar, and I urge everyone to get to know it, and makes life much easier and gives you more control of your Seestar. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and especially if you found this helpful, you can let me know in the comments. If you have any questions, let me know. And I hope you all have clearer skies than I've had, because I am super bored. I wish I could image more. Thanks a lot. Enjoy.